Hello, welcome back. So I'm down to the last layer and I'm fairly happy with it. The main thing that I'm not thrilled with at the moment is the quite limited palette. The whole thing is orange and blue, greenish blue, a little bit here and there. So I feel like I need to introduce some alternative colors, alternate chroma to the scene, and the with the last phase, this last stage, the question is always where to start. Again, I'll give you the four options. One is start with the focal point. Another is start with the lightest, brightest, whitest, which is also going to be the focal point in this case. That's two options: focal point, light, bright, white, local color, or sky, furthest object. And because of my concern about my limited palette, I'm going to start with local color. In other words, I don't feel like I can really proceed with the rest of the painting until I get some alternative colors going. And what I need is mostly purple and red. There's green, plenty of green, plenty of blue, plenty of orange, yellow, but no purple, red. Now, don't get me wrong. Every painting doesn't have to have, the full spectrum of color in it. It doesn't have to have that. So I'm not doing it because there's some kind of principle. Don't take that. It's not that every painting has to have the whole rainbow in it. But this painting I feel, is too limited palette at the moment. So yes, I'm going to come in here and look for excuses to introduce, especially purple. And I can do, this is ultramarine, a purplish blue in the water. So that's one place. See, already that the painting is coming alive a little bit just with the introduction of that tiny bit of additional color. I can also do some lavender, keep it the same value. We could do some purple in the tree line, and I could do some purple in this shadow, and that will probably be enough. So I feel like that's my next task, is to just expand the chroma, the color range of this scene, and then I'll move on probably to the lightest, brightest white area and do some details there. Right now I'm actually painting very much like my last layer, kind of fuzzy edges, but yeah, that's better. Same thing down here. A little bit of, I could almost add a tiny bit of violet into that mix actually down here. I think it would look okay. Let's see what that looks like. So I've got violet on top of green, which is usually you get really fun interplay of colors when you do, complementary colors on top of each other, of course. Purple and green are not complementary, but they're almost far away around the color wheel from each other. Yeah, that's funny. It hardly even, whatever. It doesn't scream out loud. Look at me, I'm purple. I think I think our eye buys it and says, yeah, sure. Don't you think? Joanne is watching over my shoulder, making sure that I don't screw up.
Lunch entertainment.
Yeah, lunch entertainment. Yep.
That's wonderful. Watch.
Yeah, I'm think I'm going to be happy with this one.
It's a great composition.
It's hard it's like doing boats is kind of like doing houses. If you do one house, you've really shot yourself in the foot business-wise, because if the owner of that house doesn't want to buy it, you're out of luck. But you can often paint a row of houses. You can paint a street, and it doesn't have the same. So that, I feel like that's sort of what I'm doing here. I've got three boats in the painting, so it's not just, I'm not hoping that either this person or this person or this person are going to buy it, which would be a silly thing to hope for, really. it looks like a marina scene because it's got 3 boats in it. So
Yeah, it could be anywhere except for the
yeah,
lighthouse.
yeah, right. Could be anywhere. True. Okay, since I'm already doing this dark blue, purplish kind of stuff, I'm going to see if I can introduce some color into the hull of this boat, which I think the hull is actually dark blue in real life, but yeah, that looks good. I'm looking at the photograph and not getting much help from the photograph at all. So this is operating, flying by the seat of my pants, so to speak. Okay, now let's see if I can get a little bit of purple-ish stuff up here in the tree line. I'm toning down my purple, picking up some transparent oxide, I forget what it's called, yellow. Anyway, it's kind of like burnt, a dark yellow ochre. So to get a dull purple. It's actually a little too dull. Let me pump that up a little bit. And lighten it just a little bit. Again, so one of the rules is, every rule can be broken, but if you don't know the rules, you're probably just screwing up. One of the rules is we do not like to see dark paint on top of light paint. And if you're a painter, you should be going, wait a minute, but there's times you have to do dark paint. Correct. I stand by the rule. We don't like to see dark paint on top of, we like to see light paint on top of dark paint. So the solution then is whenever you do dark paint on top of light, make it transparent dark, and then it's less objectionable. And then, in addition to that, come back and do light highlights around it, next to it, adjacent to it, nearby, and then all is well. So I mention that because I'm doing this dull, really probably technically a mauve, a dull purple on top of these trees. And it works partly because even though it's a fairly dark color, it's lighter than what's already there. So our eye buys it. You go, oh yeah, that works. Let me see if yes, good, still showing. And having said that, then here's another rule of thumb. Anytime, especially like I did basically the same purple value all across there. That's called monotonous, boring. So anytime you have to do that, anytime you find yourself doing that, it's usually a good idea to come back and do a second slightly lighter value of the same color, slightly lighter version, right on top of the stuff you just did. So that's what I've done here. I've mixed up a slightly lighter, just add a little bit of white, and then can come in here and throw some variety on that purple. Again, thinking the light's coming from the left, so probably more from left. Now, good question is, am I going to come in here and add some green on this distant bank of trees? I'm doing purple because I felt like the whole painting needed some purple. And the answer is, I don't know. But now that I've gotten this far, the answer was, I don't know. But now that I've gotten this far, I'm thinking the answer is, in fact, yes. Let me go ahead and maybe try mixing that up right now. So I'm mixing up a dull green. Again, dull because it's It's got to be basically in this same values family. It's pretty subtle. So I just used the dirty brushes that I already had to mix up a fairly dull green. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it's okay. I'll do some of this, then I'm going to come back and do a lighter version of it. And this won't take long at all. Okay, now let's do add a little bit of yellow to that, and a little bit of white. So I've got a slightly lighter, greener version of it. Again, thinking of the sun coming from the left, so hitting whenever there's a knob in the trees, hitting the left edge of that knob with a little bit of lighter green. Now, I'm not done with this bank of trees. A real significant element is missing, and that is the sky edge. I could leave it all fuzzy like this, but I just don't like it that much. So I'm going to add a little bit of an edge, not too much, just a little here and there, a little bit of an edge to that bank of trees. Is that all right? Yeah, because right now it's just all fuzzy, and I don't like that all fuzzy stuff. This building is showing up way too much, isn't it? I just kind of noticed that. You've probably been screaming the whole time, dial that building down. So I've mixed up a dull purple to go on this side of it. There. This is part of the boat, this little light thing here. So that is definitely better. This might be a good place for me to pause, start another broadcast in a few minutes. I'm going to do some purple in here, and then I think I'll be ready to go to the next stage. What will that be? It's either sky or highlight. Or I could do a little local down here too. This to me is all a little bit too bright, a little bit too intense of a yellow gold, I think. Anyway, let me turn you off so I can think, and then I'll be back in just a few minutes. Thanks so much for watching.